our thing. So there we go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Happy Half Hour, this week's Happy Half Hour with Carolina Retirement Planners. I'm David Suchecki. Normally joining me on the screen is my daughter, Sam, but she is in the mountains this weekend having a great time. The pictures she sent back are amazing. She's above the clouds and there's rainbows. But I'll let her share them with you when she comes back next week. I want to introduce a very special guest. This is Dr. Slade Suchecki. Slade is a concierge doctor, concierge medicine. And I want to take a minute here at the beginning, and I want to say a couple of things. First, thanks for coming. Be sure to say hi in the chat because we don't know you're here if you don't say hi in the chat. We're going to talk about your health this time. This is a unique half hour. If you're on Facebook, if you go down below and click share and click watch party, you can basically tell your friends that you're watching this and they may get a chance to share. And what I know you're going to find is some really, really good information. But I want to start by telling you kind of why the story behind why Slade is here, because the story involves saving my life, okay? And it all started about 3 years ago when one of my clients, one of you, came in for a review and said, hey, Dave, I got this doctor. I got this concierge doctor. He's telling me about it. At the time, it was Slade's predecessor who retired. Slade took over his practice, Dr. Bott. And he says, man, I went in there and, he took all this blood work, sent it to Cleveland Clinic. He took blood pressure, both arms, both legs, did all these tests that I'm thinking, wow, that sounds smart. And we spent an hour and a half, 2 hours going over the results. And I'm thinking, wow. So I looked into it and I signed up, got it myself and, did all that. And when was the last time you spent an hour and a half or 2 hours with a doctor? And, among other things, you get the doctor's cell phone number, okay? So if you have an emergency, something, on a weekend or a night, it was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, Easter weekend, Easter Saturday, I get this pain in my gut. So bad that I didn't go to the beer tasting at Airlie Gardens that I had tickets for. You can imagine how much pain I was in. I just figured it's a stomach flu. The next day, Easter Sunday, I still got this pain. And I'm thinking, wait, my wife says, well, you have Dr. Bott's number. You should call him. And I've learned that when I don't want to do something and my wife says I should, I better, because she's usually right. And so I called him and Bott said, it sounds like we should have it checked out. I want you to go to the Cape Fear Hospital. That's the little one out, kind of by the beach. He said, it won't be crowded. I'll call ahead, get them all. I went there. They did a scan. I had air in my abdomen. I had a perforated colon. And an hour later, I'm down in New Hanover in surgery, emergency surgery with the surgeon on call. And, New Hanover, if you've been in the operating theater, there's 3 operating rooms. There's a whole bunch of operating rooms. It's usually like Grand Central Station. Easter Sunday, 7 p.m., I'm the only person there. And they did all, I won't go into the details. You can imagine what a perforated colon involves, but if I had not had a phone number, the male in me would have waited till the next day. I mean, it's Easter Sunday. I was pain, but I had pain threshold. I'd have probably got sepsis and died. I really believe that having these resources literally saved my life. I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. And so that's my prelude to our little conversation today. And I'm going to stop talking and let Slade talk about concierge medicine and himself and what this all means, because this is important. Then I'll tell you how you can get a book on it and some other things too. So go ahead and I've talked enough. So
okay. Well, no, I appreciate the opportunity, David. This is a wonderful opportunity just to kind of share what we do here. Again, my name is Slade Suchecki, and I'm a board-certified family physician. I started practicing Back in 2006, I did my training, my undergrad at the U.S. Military Academy and my medical school in Kentucky. And I came out here to the coast because I love the water and the beach. Um, I guess it was in 2013 or so, I decided the practice of medicine was changing, and I didn't like the direction it was going. I kind of felt like I was doing what they call treadmill medicine, a patient every couple minutes, that 7-minute kind of visit, which was not satisfying for me as a provider, and I'm certainly sure as a recipient of that kind of care, it's just not optimal. So I found out about this company, MDVIP, and it was quite eye-opening. They promised the world, that I could be a doctor and practice like an old-fashioned doctor again and have time and get to know my patients. So I took them up on the offer, and in 2014, I had switched my practice over to that type of model. And basically, it's a membership-based, comprehensive primary care practice. So, I'm not going to show up at the airport with slippers or anything like that, but I am available 24/7 after hours on the weekends and everything. All of my patients have my number, but the focus of the practice is just this big wellness exam. We do above and beyond what the normal physicals entail. We do a lot of preventative screening. The focus of my whole practice is on prevention, trying to identify, areas that can be improved on to prevent long-term complications and keep you as healthy as possible. David's right. There's a bunch of labs. We do labs that are above and beyond the normal scope, looking at particle sizes of your cholesterol, screening for vitamin deficiencies. It's
much more thorough blood work and a lot of other things. Well, it's like the blood pressure. Why do we do blood pressure both arms, both legs?
Right. No, I mean,
what's that looking to detect?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to check for vascular anomalies, clogged arteries. We also do, it's called an ankle brachial index, looking at the blood flow into the legs as well, and comparing that to make sure, we pick up on stiffness of the vessels and blockages early. Eye test, hearing test, EKG, all that kind of stuff certainly is involved. But, we look at inflammatory markers. Some of them which are now being used in some studies looking at COVID and risk of complications from COVID. The director of MDVIP's medical affairs is working on a project looking at myeloperoxidase. Myeloperoxidase is a marker of inflammation in the blood vessels, and that has been linked with poor outcomes. If you've got a high MPO and you get COVID, the complications, could be much worse than if you had normal myeloperoxidase. And again, that goes back to overall good health and being active and exercise. And David and I had talked. I mean, what good is it to do all the things that he's doing for you and for your money if you can't enjoy, life?
Absolutely. In fact, if anybody, I know I had at least one. When the invitation went out, I've had one or two people come back and tell me they've had concierge doctors. One of them, in fact, has Slade. In the chat, if you have a concierge doctor, if you have experience, put a little note in. I also just want to say hello to Arlene, Rick, Mary, Cindy, Ed, Tallulah, Kay, and Al, and Sam is actually here. How about that? She's visiting us incognito, and Carol and just Heidi, say hi to folks, but let us know if you have it. Well, tell us more. How is concierge different than my normal, the doctor I might have at Wilmington Health Associates or some big group?
The biggest thing I could say, the biggest difference is that I have time. I have a smaller panel of patients. And as a result, I have more time with them. So, again, if a problem takes, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Our physicals are an hour and a half to 2 hours. And that time allows me to get to know my patients. I've had an instance where, my relationship with a patient saved his life just because I could hear on the other line that, his mood wasn't, just the way it normally is. And he later told me, Dr. Suchecki, because you knew something was wrong, you listened to me, I was having thoughts of hurting myself, and that kind of thing. You can kind of pick up on these things. I had a patient who was having some cardiac issues, but to him, he was like, oh, my jaw is achy. I thought it was my ear. And he called me from the golf course and he's like, I'm really short of breath, but I've had this ear thing. I think it might be a medication side effect. I'm like, I think you're having a cardiac problem. You need to go to the hospital right away. Next thing you know, he had a major cardiac situation. They did a triple bypass.
And he was able to call you from the golf course.
He called me from the golf course. Yeah, it was crazy. I've had people call me when they're traveling about, in other countries. They had an illness or something, or just a question.
Well, just, one thing I know will be in everybody's mind, what does MDVIP cost? How much more is it?
Yeah, so it's an annual fee, and it's a membership-based kind of program. I think the fee right now is $1,800, but you don't have to pay it all at once if you don't want to. They can break it up or whatever. MDVIP is the overseeing network of doctors, and they've chosen me to be in their network based on how I practice. But they manage membership. And everything else, if we see you for any other reason, we go ahead and we bill your regular insurance. So this does not replace insurance. You still need to have health insurance. Of course, you don't want to just sign up with MDVIP. I can't help you in the hospital through MDVIP. It's just outpatient setting. Now if you're traveling, you can certainly get in with another MDVIP doctor.
In fact, let me tell my story there, because one of the things I learned about was that if I'm traveling somewhere, remember when we all could travel? And I know you all, and I know a lot of you, that's what you do. I mean, travel, and there's a nationwide network. But it was the hurricane a couple of years ago. You remember, and I was in Raleigh. It was the year I had the operation. We were in Cary at a pet-friendly, fair residence inn on the hospital grid in Cary, and I had some kind of boil coming up on. I won't go into details, but I called up him. I looked up MDVP on the web, and there was somebody about a mile away. Called him up, had an appointment that day. I spent over half an hour with him. No big deal. A little, just checking it out. But it's really nice if you're in another city and you get sick, instead of calling up and getting the doc in the box at the local doc in the box, you can get someone that MDVIP has vetted. And I'll ramble on a little. You all have probably experienced it where you go to a doctor now and they put you in a little room. They tell you the appointment's at 10. They put you in the room at 10, and like 45 minutes later, the doctor comes in or something, and they spend literally 7 minutes with you. They have 7 minutes to see you. They talk about it in a book I'll talk about here in a minute. They have 7 minutes to see you, 7 minutes to write it up, and a minute to go to the bathroom on the way to the next little room. How many appointments do doctors like that do a day? So it's like, what do they expect you to see?
25 to 30 patients a day.
25 to 30 people a day. This is what corporate medicine has become. When I was a little kid, I lived in the Pennsylvania Dutch country. We had a Mennonite doctor named Dr. Stoltzfus. I remember him coming to the house with his black bag and, seeing me when I'm sick. I can remember seeing the bag on our couch. I can still see that in my mind. I don't know whether I was looking for the lollipops or worried about the needles, but and he knew us really well, and you'd go up his office, and it was the way medicine used to be. And insurance companies, and even worse, Medicare pays so little now, combined with the corporate medicine, doctors just can't economically see you well. And so for $1,800, you have someone that can can kind of meet with you and can spend the time they need. I also think, and it's been my experience with both Slade and Dr. Bott, that you get a different class of doctor who does this, is brave enough to say, look, I'm going to get out of the rat race and I'm going to join this group where I can do it right. I also know most of you, and I know how much, literally for most people, I know just how much money you have. And I know there's a great many of you can export $1,800 a person per year. It will pay for itself. I mean, what's more important in your health? What more can you spend your money? I know it's saved, you catch something and avoid one little hospital stay, you're going to pay for, all your lifetime supply, but what's more important than your health? So I wanted to bring this to you as a client brought to me and told me about this. So that's a little bit of my ranting and raving about all this. So
no, if I can interject first, I want to say hi to Kay and Ken. Good to see you guys. And there are some questions about insurance. We do take regular insurance as well, again, to handle the medical issues outside of that wellness exam. And normal copays, and all that are in effect. And as far as post-polio syndrome, like a Guillain-Barré, absolutely. I'm not a specialist in neurology, but I can certainly get things moving in that direction to get the diagnosis and get you to the right person. Going back to, there's a lot of benefits, improved outcomes, and patient satisfaction. There's decreased hospitalizations overall. If we can knock something out, over the phone or in the office, and we typically do have that kind of situation. Basically, one example, I had a patient he called me up, which if you're going to go to the hospital, I say, on the way or, at some point along the way, please call me so I can help, prep the ER and let them know. I'll call ahead and give them some background and send them all the labs and EKGs and do all that kind of stuff so that when you get to the ER, they kind of know everything going on.
That's what happened. That's what happened to me.
Yeah,
he called ahead of time, and
the doctors love it, on the receiving end, because otherwise you're just another number to them. So if they already kind of know what to expect, they can already get their mindset into what's going on. But I had a patient call, like, oh, I just fell, I hurt my arm, I'm going into the ER. I'm like, is the bone sticking out? Is blood supply? I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll just order an X-ray if you're worried about it being broken. And then, if it's not broken, I can see you over at the office. It totally saved him an ER visit. It was, unnecessary to go. And just saving an ER visit almost pays, pays for itself, or definitely a hospital admission. I have patients who have chronic lung disease and heart issues and heart failure. And if I can keep them out of the hospital, it makes a big difference. Most people don't realize, but the hospital readmission rate for most hospitals is 15 to 20% within the next 30 days after discharge from heart failure, pneumonia, heart attacks. And this type of program actually reduces it to 2, maybe 5% at the most. So it's, after somebody's been in the hospital, depending on what it is, we'll get them in right away, and we're communicating on discharge to make sure that there's a smooth transition and that nothing's dropped as far as medication changes and whatnot. It's a really good program overall, and it saves the system too. I mean, it's crazy, but insurance companies actually love it. I just wish they would all pay for it.
Well, again, that's the problem. We have commoditized medicine to the point where, the insurance companies want to pay as little as possible. And if you're with a big group, they want to squeeze every last minute out of you. If you squeeze another patient or two in, their bottom line goes up. When we as people really just want someone that's going to take good care of us. And again, I know many of you out there have the wherewithal to do this. What's more important than spending money on your health? And that's why I just revel in the chance to bring this to you. I want to also mention that one other thing that happened about the time my client came in and told me about it, one of the groups I work with put out a book called the World of Concierge Medicine that talks about it. There's several different styles. There's some, if you travel a lot, there's some that are only telemedicine and fix you up and all, but they actually mention MDVIP as one of the primary ones in this country, and that helped me too. But I also have, in fact, I got my little picture on the back here because I wanted to bring it to you. I have about a dozen copies of the book. I also have a online version that really is slick. You can page through it and read it as you go along. So in a minute, you can call or email us. I'll give you that number in a minute on how you can get, either a hard copy or an email copy. You can tell us what you want. And so just some more information on this. Again, I'm always happy if I can help you with your wealth, but when I have a chance to help, the only thing more important is maybe love and health, and I can at least help you with the health. I'll see what I can do about love later, But now you have offices. You actually have two offices, right? Slade?
I do. I started back in 2014. We switched over to MDVIP down in Southport, and then just a few years ago, we took over Dr. Bott's office as he retired. So I do have two offices, and I'm available, through the phone system at either place. So,
if you're in Brunswick County, you don't have to drive up to New Hanover to see him. You can book.
Not necessarily. I mean, if you want to be seen right, that at that moment, we would have to do that. But
yeah. In regular appointments, you can take in both locations.
Yeah, either location.
Now, how do people get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you?
Sure. You could go on to, you could call that number right there would work. That calls down into one of our switchboards. You can go on to ndvip.com, and the practice is up there as well. So yeah.
910-454-4343.
Right. And there's another number. If you go to the MDVIP website and you put in my name, Dr. Suchecki, everything pops up, the two locations, all the different numbers. That's probably the easiest way to reach me.
And if you call us or get in touch with us, we'll put you in touch as well. It's just I just wanted to bring this to people. There's other concierge doctors and other systems. This is the one I can personally attest to, as can some other people here. Let me see real quick. I'll say hi to Cindy, and who else may have missed? Brad, Jim, Amy. I want to say hi to those two. But this is something to think about. One other thing I'll mention too, before we do the wine drawing, is on this call, there may be some folks that have been here for the first time that don't know us, and Carolina Retirement Planners, we've been around about 20 years. It's my daughter Samantha, Sam, and I, and a staff, and we're here in downtown Wilmington. If you are interested in knowing more, almost getting a quick second opinion, or have a question on your world, this is how you can get in touch with us. You can email carolinarp.com. Our website is carolinaretirementplanners.com. That's our phone number, 815-30-100. Always like to tell you, at rogo.com, I have an education-only site full of videos on all about retirement, a lot of them on taxes and reducing taxes. So, and go there and watch the one, how to pay the most in taxes. That'll open up your eyes to everything else. So just another bit on how to get in touch with us, or down below, there's on the Facebook, there's a lot of links you can click as well. Before that, one thing, we without my daughter here, Slade, what are you drinking here today?
I've got some nice tea.
And I actually have herbal tea. Doesn't look like herbal tea, but it's herbal tea, and it's hibiscus or whatever. It's making it all right. It's supposed to be good for you. My daughter, we miss her. She's here online, but not with us. She's always drinking beer. Her husband is a brewer, actually brews beer at Waterline. I always joke, I went into engineering. I could have gone into fermentation science, had a lot more fun. So let me check my checklist if there's anything else. I think we've just about covered everything. Just time to do the drawing. Sam usually has her magic hat. I got this bowl out of the office. And so let me see, we give away each week 2 bottles of wine mailed to your door from a local wine shop. And all you have to do, if this is your first time, either say, enter me in the wine drawing. We like people to ask us a question that tells us what people are interested in, or tell people that you invited a friend or told friends about it or shared it on Facebook, any contact at all, as long as we know you're participating. So I'm going to pull it out, and the winner is Maria Swain. Maria, I'm sorry, I shouldn't give him the last name, but anyway, Maria is our winner this week. So congratulations. And let's see, we have just like 2 or 3 minutes left. See, is there any questions came through that we can talk about here?
Again, just MDVIP does not replace your insurance. It does only cover the annual wellness exam and then the labs associated with that. Everything else is covered by your regular insurance. And as far as average costs, under my care, on average, costs are much lower, especially if I can keep you out of the hospital. And I do try to avoid putting people on medicine unless we absolutely have to. So I don't I'm not a pill pusher by any means. I'm well skilled at the art of that, but if I can avoid and get a patient to do more exercise and eat better and have a healthier lifestyle, that's always the optimum.
And I can just speak for myself that both with Slade and Dr. Bott, it was very much more worrying about your lifestyle, worrying about you. Whenever I went in for, not just the physical, but other times, we spent plenty of time, the time it took to get to know me and work on, think about it. It wasn't like rush into the room and rush out. It really is the way, to me, medicine should be, the care we should get. And I'm, I've got the whole family now. I think we should be happy to pay a little extra for someone to be able to take the time and do what medicine should do. Like, what again is more important? So I'm glad we could bring this up. I'm glad we could do this this week. Again, contact info, mdvip.com, 454-4343. If you want to learn more. Again, I can personally attest that it will save my life. I mean, quite literally. So with that, I think we are right at 5 o'clock. We like to keep it to half an hour. And once again, we'd like to thank you all for coming. Don't know what the subject is next week. Everybody on vacation, we haven't decided. You'll hear. Oh, one last thing I should mention. Come back, watch our Facebook post. It turns out we're giving a special presentation at UNCW this Monday, 6:30. We're doing a empowering women's workshop, Sam and I. And it was supposed to be in person, but now they've moved it to the web. I just found out we can share it through our Facebook as well. You're all invited to come. If you've been to one of our women's workshops at UNCW or some of the private ones we held at the City Club, they're great. And you want to tell your friends and come and attend that. And check out Facebook. We'll probably send out a little email message Monday, kind of letting everybody know about it, 6:30 p.m. on Monday, be about a little over an hour. And with that, I just want to say cheers, everyone, and thanks for coming. And have a good week. We'll talk to you Monday or next Thursday for our happy half hour.
Stay well.
Take care.